Good morning, friends. In all this safety and all these things, one of the biggest things that is important when we talk about what we need to do in our lives, what we need to do to improve, and things like that, it's important to be aware of something called the stages of change. It's also called the trans-theoretical model. So being aware of that there are stages in which we are in where we're working toward change. So the very first stage is called pre-contemplation. So this is like we are not planning to take action, and at least in the next 6 months, and we may not even be aware that the behavior is problematic or that it causes problems or there's negative consequences. We're just not even looking to do anything different. Some people we meet are perpetually in pre-contemplation. And a lot of frustration that we sometimes have is when other people are not in the stage of change that we would like them to be. The second stage is contemplation. This is when we thinking about healthy behavior or thinking about changing, maybe within the next 6 months, and we see that it's a problem, and so we're looking at like, oh, maybe I should start looking at thinking about doing that and doing something different, but we're still just thinking about it. We're aware and we're thinking about it. The next one is preparation. So this is when we're working to take steps towards change in the next 30 days. So, okay, I'm going to start doing this on the first of the month, whether it's exercise or sobriety or change in communication or things like that. And the next one is action. This is when we pull the trigger on what we're going to do. Okay, I'm doing it, we're changing, we're working on it, and we're doing something different. After that is maintenance. This is where we've been doing it for a while. It's been consistent and we're doing well and we're holding on to it and we're working to prevent a relapse into the old behaviors. Then we have relapse. Sometimes we're doing really, really well and we slip back into it. That's a normal part of the stages of change, when we slip into old behaviors and we, depending on where we are in our relapse, we return to pre-contemplation or contemplation or maintenance or action. And then the final one is termination. And this is one that talks about, basically, I have no desire to go back to that behavior, and it's not even something that I have to do more intentionally because I'm not even concerned about relapse. I'm that level of like, I've terminated the behavior completely. Now, thinking about this in a couple of contexts. One is being kind to yourself about where you may be. You know, every once in a while, and maybe I'm not the only one guilty of it, but every once in a while, I'll notice that my screen time is a little bit longer than I'd like it to be. And sometimes it's productive stuff. I might be reading a book on my phone on Kindle, or I might be doing research or things like that. But sometimes it's games or apps or things like that. And so I might say, oh, this is getting out of hand. Yeah, but what am I going to do instead? And I might be contemplating about it. And honestly, sometimes it gets to the point I'm not thinking about it. And then my kid or my spouse says, oh, you're kind of on your phone forever, or you're not listening to me, or things like that. And then, so we have pre-contemplation, then we have contemplation. Okay, what can I do to change? Preparation is the next thing. So I'm going to do something different. This week, I deleted 3 games from my phone because I was like, these are time suckers. I'm not doing them. Whatever. Then the action step, like what are we actually doing? Okay, well, today I'm going to start taking walks, or I'm going to go to detox, or something of that nature. What am I going to do to allow myself to change and grow in healthy ways? And then setting some kind of system that we have consistency. Maybe it's an accountability system with a friend or a sponsor or a family member. But maybe it's just with ourselves and holding ourselves accountable. I remember several years ago, I had set a goal regarding reading every day. And so what I did is I took every single app off of my home screen on my phone, and only the app with the reading on it on the main page. So when I opened my phone, the very first thing was a choice to be able to do that thing that I committed to myself or not. And so being aware of, how do I be nice to myself, that I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about it, and I'm working up toward it, and that change can happen, it will happen, but I need to be able to let myself go through those stages of change. A lot of times we get judgmental and shaming about those changes because we think we should be somewhere else, or we should be doing it faster, or we're comparing to someone else. But it's not a thing that actually benefits our mental health. And so being aware of, what do I need to do? The other part being is, how do we also give that compassion to other people? That maybe they're not ready. Maybe they're just thinking about it. Maybe they don't know that it's a problem. And that's why one reason we need to safely communicate with people about what the impact is on us. A lot of times when there's trauma, or, people pleasing, or just conflict avoidance, or anything like that, whatever name you want to call it, but it then interferes with our ability to grow closer with each other. So maybe your friend, your family member doesn't know that what they're doing is affecting you, and they need to know, but they still get to make their own choices, because our boundary is what we will tolerate. We don't get to control what other people are doing. And so start thinking about, am I in a stage of change right now? What would take me to the next stage? And how do I be kind to myself and others about those stages as we're moving through them? I hope you have a good week.